Salman Zahoor Syed says his younger brother was duped into working in the front lines for Russia during its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. He went to Russia after being promised a job as a labourer for the government, with pay of about $2,000 a month and possible Russian citizenship. When he arrived, he signed a contract. Then, things started to turn sour.
When my brother and others realized what was happening, they were told they would have to fight when needed by the military, as they had already signed the documents.
He says the contract was in Russian and there was no way his brother could have understood it. Although his brother is working in logistics and not in a combat role, he has been on the front line near Kherson and 2 months ago watched as more than 20 Indian, Nepali and Russian men were killed in a Ukrainian drone attack. According to analysts, hundreds of people from global south countries like India, Nepal and Cuba have been duped into combat and non-combat roles for Russia and Ukraine. They also say that evidence shows Russia is ramping up this practice.
Sometimes these methods resemble human trafficking and so on, because Russians are aiming for people who want to leave the country. The Indians, they were looking for some opportunities to leave India, and they were basically lured, they were deceived.
One expert VOA spoke to explained that it's common for nations at war to recruit from abroad, but her historical analysis of the past 2 centuries shows deceiving recruits into working in conflict zones is incredibly rare.
And the reason they don't do that is it is so profoundly politically costly to your allies. You get horrible soldiers who have no desire to fight because they didn't want to come there to fight. So there's almost no meaningful return. So it's almost remarkable how rare this is and what that tells us about how much Putin believes what the Russian military can bring to bear in Ukraine and what it needs to be victorious, just how wide that gap is.
As for Syed, he says his brother doesn't even know if he's been paid.
They haven't had the chance to check if they have received any actual payments yet to their bank, since they are quite far from civilization in the forest. The agents might have cheated them by giving incorrect bank details too.
Syed says the only way he can speak to his brother is when sympathetic Russian soldiers lend his brother their phones. Henry Wilkins, VOA News, Narayan Pet, India.